So the low-level guys, they're going to lose their jobs.
An entrepreneur since 16, he helped build mobile advertising when the internet on your phone still ran on WAP. MobPartner was later acquired by China's Cheetah Mobile in a $58 million deal. Today, he leads an AI-driven agency from Sri Lanka and believes that AI will wipe out low-level coding jobs, reshape software companies, and expose the failures of our education system. But his connection to the island began at 18, carrying letters from Sri Lankan refugees into wartime Jaffna. This is Shaun Zelber on From the Island.
A software engineer that's just like, I'm coding and I'm satisfied coding, they're out. But you need a super experienced guy who understands databases. And that guy can build a SaaS solution alone, which before would take a team of 10. So that is a game changer for software companies. The other day, I had to withdraw money from a Western Union. It took me 45 minutes, 11 signatures. So there's plenty of software that needs to be built to re-engineer, have the top 5 richest ethnicities in the United States. Sri Lanka's in there.
That's for those who are leaving. So then the option is, okay, you got to leave your country to do it.
Why can't Sri Lankans make a product and sell it to India? Why are they so against India anyway?
Why not?
Shaun, welcome to From the Island.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. So you started your first business at 16 years old. You've gone on to be an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. You've built and sold businesses all over the world. You had a mobile advertising company that you sold for millions of dollars to a Chinese firm. And then you had the whole world available to you, but you chose to come to Sri Lanka. So we're very curious and very happy to have you here. We want to really go deep into our ecosystem, what you think of it.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can start by telling us what made you want to come to Sri Lanka.
Okay. Well, as a teenager, I was in Paris, and it was in the 80s. So my mom had kind of put me into this association. It was like religious, but we also did some social work. And the people who were the refugees at that time were all Sri Lankan origin. And so that's how I got to know Sri Lankans. I discovered rice and curry and eating with my hands. So this was as a teenager in Paris. And it was really cool because it allowed me to understand different cultures, different backgrounds. So I'm American, living in Paris, and then met all these Sri Lankans and other refugees from around the world. And that was a good thing to do as a teenager whilst in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how you got introduced to Sri Lanka?
That's how I got introduced to Sri Lanka. And then when I finished high school, I did a stint in India, in Tamil Nadu, for 8 months. And I came to Sri Lanka. And I came to Sri Lanka, I knew no one. This crazy story. I went to our association's headquarters, which was on Layards Road in Colombo 5, and knocked on the door as an 18-year-old teenager. And they didn't know who the hell I was, but they asked me a few questions, and I guess they liked me. They put me at someone's house, who I found out later was the former Prime Minister of Nepal, living on Kirimandale Mawata. So yeah, that's how I discovered Sri Lanka. I stayed with him. He never told me that he was the Prime Minister. Someone else told me. So he was part of the royal family, and he had to leave Nepal because persecution when he was Prime Minister, and he left, and then he had to leave.
He got to safe haven here.
Yeah, and he was a refugee here. Yeah, I mean, no, posh refugee. Yeah, and I wanted to travel to Jaffna because I knew all these refugees in Paris from Jaffna.
Right.
Except there was a war, and there was the IPKF in Jaffna.
This is at the peak of it.
Yeah, 1989.
Wow.
I turned 19 in Talimanar Pier in Mannar.
Wow.
Yeah. So I traveled to Jaffna. I made it to Jaffna. And I went and visited all these families because there was no internet at the time. So they had like messages. Can you pass this message to my family? I had letters and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I stayed a week or two in Jaffna and then made my way back to Colombo and then back to Paris finally.
And you've never been back ever since, other than 2017 when you moved back?
No, so I moved back to Sri Lanka with, a few years passed, right? But I moved back to Sri Lanka in 1998 with my Sri Lankan wife.
Oh.
And I had one child. We had one child already, and we had one more child born here in Colombo at Joseph Fraser Hospital.
Oh, that's where I was born.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
wow.
beautiful place. Amazing place, huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's really-
Well, I don't remember. I've been told.
You can just walk right on in. It's
Oh,
just near Police
fantastic.
Park.
You have 5 kids, if I'm
I
not
do.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they all live here with you currently?
So as life went on, I got divorced and I remarried, but I tried to stay in the same region because my second wife is Maldivian.
Oh,
So all my kids look the same color and everything, and they love each other like they're full brothers and sisters. So I have 2 from the first and 3 from the second, and 3 live here.
Okay.
One, my eldest daughter lives in Paris, and she's a teacher, and I have a son who is in Hawaii, and he's a farmer.
interesting.
There you go.
That's fantastic. What was your motivation and intention to come here?
As an entrepreneur in Paris, I had taken over a language school that sold software to help learn languages.
Okay.
So that's how I got into software, actually.
Right.
Yeah, that was my route, because I had studied to be an English teacher. Yeah. So we were fed up in Paris, and we wanted to try something new. So with my wife, who was of Sri Lankan origin, we moved to Sri Lanka.
You chose this?
Yes, in 1998.
1998?
Yeah.
But that wasn't when you permanently moved here.
No, so I stayed there. That time I stayed for about 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got a job at a directory company, like a book, like a business director.
Those yellow books?
Yeah, it wasn't yellow, but it's called Compass. It was a Swiss company,
Okay.
and it was on Park Road. I had never run a sales team. Somehow I got the job, and we had a sales team of about 18. I got to travel on Petta and Candy and all over Sri Lanka selling a listing in this directory. So it was kind of cool. And then I was telling the bosses, the owners, internet's coming, make an online directory, and you can keep the book going, but do it online and sell them websites, and they didn't listen. So I started my own company,
Okay.
and that was EasyBiz.
That was easy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started that in 2000 and raised money locally,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, from a local private investors.
Interesting. And then you went to Paris a few years later to start MobPartner, is it?
Yeah, so life happened. The internet bubble happened.
Right.
So that EasyBiz was a big success because we started the first e-commerce store in Sri Lanka. We were
Okay.
doing all kinds of really cool stuff. But my investors, when the bubble happened in the US, which didn't really affect Sri Lanka at all,
Right,
they freaked out
they pulled.
and they like stopped the money.
Right.
So, and I was the biggest expense as a foreigner. So they took one of my lieutenants, my second in command, and they made him CEO. Fair enough, In the end, they ended up closing it, unfortunately. And that's when I moved back to Paris. But life, there's some kind of justice in the world, and things happen for a reason. Because when I left Sri Lanka, I was a mess. My company was upset. My wife had taken off. My kids were in France, so it was pretty bad. I met my future wife at the airport, leaving Sri Lanka.
No way.
Yeah. And you know what I liked about her? She was smiling and laughing at my situation because I had 1 day overstay on my visa. So the immigration guy was giving me a hard time. And I had all of these ladies who were going to the Middle East to work. And they've never been in a queue before. So they were stuck to my back. And every time I moved, they'd move also. It was quite funny. And my wife and her 2 sisters thought it was hilarious. So they were laughing. So I was like, okay. And I asked them to hold my luggage whilst I sorted out my overstay visa. And that's how it happened.
Okay.
And we became, she's my wife now since 2005.
That's
that's pretty cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
As you were leaving Sri Lanka.
Yeah. So she was visiting. She came over a weekend to shop from Maldives.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
So she went shopping and got a husband.
Right, so you left Sri Lanka, you went to Paris, and then you decided to start a mobile advertising company?
Well, no. So I went to Paris and I'm like, I need a job. I need to do something. So I basically looked up all of the web agencies, software companies, and I called them. And on about the 7th one I called, the guy said, come, let's meet. So they were a small web agency in Paris. They had nice clients like Visa and Nespresso and stuff like that, but they were small, and he hired me. And I was in charge of business development. And also I told him, listen, let's start a development center in Sri Lanka.
Right.
And so we did. So we started a development center in Sri Lanka, and we grew the company from 5 when I joined to about 30 people. Became a shareholder, and we had really nice clients. And then we raised money, and I exited at that point and started my own company, which became the MobPartner, which we ended up selling in the end.
Right, and that was all in Paris.
I was all in Paris.
Right. Okay. So maybe we can touch a little bit about the funding aspect of things. So I know you raised a Series A round for MobPartner at some point. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And you also raised some money when you were doing a business here in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. And I started another app store company, like an app store. Well, this was before Apple App Store.
Right.
So we built an app store and we would sell it to telcos. And I raised money on that too, about $1 million.
Okay.
I found on LinkedIn.
Okay, that's very interesting. So I'm curious about the process in the two countries. What was that like? Raising money here in Sri Lanka at that point?
I raised in France and Sri Lanka and in the US. By far, the French one was more difficult.
Okay.
Endless due diligence, very difficult. I think the European mentality, like let's keep England out, but like Latin Europe, for them, they're very risk adverse. So giving money is difficult. It's super hard. They want to see you already like making gobs of money, and then you don't really need them.
Right.
So it's difficult. So it's hard for startups in France, Belgium, Switzerland.
Yeah.
You okay?
What's going on?
Excuse me, sorry, I
some
choked on my water. I'm not going to drink more of that.
We're keeping
sorry,
this in the
you were
middle.
saying.
Yeah, you were saying. Sorry.
Let's keep that part. Let's keep that part.
He can't believe you raised, like you find it easier in Sri Lanka than in France.
No,
He's choking.
do you actually find it easier to raise it in Sri Lanka? Surely not.
So in Sri Lanka, it's like Machan-Machan culture, right?
Right. Yeah.
So-
Personal relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they don't understand private equity. Like I'm gonna give you this much money and I'll take only 15%. That's
Right.
very difficult for them to understand. They want 50%.
Yeah.
Which sucks for the founder because then if that's like the first round, but I don't know. I've met a lot of startups and they've raised money like that.
Okay. Okay. So you
It's kind of like, but it's not venture funds. It's more like
family and friends. Yeah.
family and friends, or like a connection, and you
Connection.
get in front of. So me, the guys who had invested in my company were from the garment business.
Right.
So they had lots of money, and they wanted to diversify.
Right. But isn't that part of the problem? Because if you think about US companies, you can go with just an ideation in your head and you'd be able to raise large funds.
Absolutely.
So anything innovative is not something we would invest in.
No, for sure. For sure. It's difficult in Sri Lanka. It's even more difficult in Europe.
Even more difficult in
Yeah.
Europe.
So what if there is someone young who has an innovative idea of sorts in Sri Lanka? Is it a good idea to try and make that work here, raise funding here, based on your experience of how you raise funding here?
If they can not dilute too much, I would say first round maybe just angel, and if they can just,
Right.
yeah. So that's the issue, right? People want control. You know, Sri Lankans like to control things, so they want to control. They're afraid to get ripped off.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of an issue. But if they can convince someone, and they have to sell overseas. If they can sell their product overseas, let's say they make a SaaS product, If they can sell their SaaS product overseas, the revenue that they can generate is high compared to the cost of living, a cost of a developer, cost of an office.
Sure.
Especially if you're outside of Colombo, right? And Colombo's a little bit expensive, but you don't have to have an office at Shangri-La. You can have an office in Gampaha, right? And even the developers are cheap. Like they're half the price or even more, even cheaper in Gampaha, right? So I think that's the ticket. Try to bootstrap. I would say for Sri Lanka, try to bootstrap until you get like you start getting traction, and then go after raising money. And there's networks now of foreign investors, like I think Hatch and a couple of other people have these. Can put you in touch with overseas investors.
Yeah.
If you really need money, get it from friends and family.
So could you take us through maybe the process of raising capital? At what point would an entrepreneur say, this is the time that I need to start raising capital? Often the people we speak to say that raising capital is the biggest problem that they have in the business. But then we have a contrarian view where a lot of entrepreneurs say raising capital is not your issue. It's that you can't deploy fast enough and test it fast enough. What's your take on that?
I think the model, like in the US, where you have a beautiful pitch deck but nothing built, it's not going to work in Asia in general. I think you need to bootstrap.
You need to show
Yeah,
revenue.
you need to have some traction. And you need to probably do several things. Let's say you're building a SaaS, you might need to do some software dev or some digital marketing to pay the bills. And I've met a lot of young entrepreneurs that are doing that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Right.
I think it's possible. I think it's doable.
Right.
How different is the environment compared to, you raised back in the early 2000s and then you came back after you sold MobPartner for $58 million in 2015? And then you came back to Sri Lanka and you started a software company. We're building products for different companies there and also marketing agency, which is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
And how you feel like the landscape has changed in terms of how it was in the early 2000s, how it is now, maybe in the 2015s. We can talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want to start.
As you can start from when you first started raising capital, what that ecosystem was like compared to what it is like today.
Well, then it was, so the first capital I raised was in about 2000 in Sri Lanka, and it was easy because there wasn't much. So, and there was a bit of unfair advantage because I am a foreigner, so that does help a little bit, I think, when you talk to some people. It's really stupid, but I mean, I've just learned to live with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a bit unfair, but I think things are changing a little bit, But yeah, so back in that time, it wasn't that difficult, I have to say. I only talked to 3 people and raised money.
Oh.
Yeah. But I had a good plan, but I had nothing built. I don't know if that would work nowadays, right? I think people will want to see traction now. And I understand them because I think people got their fingers burnt with just like putting money on an idea, right?
Yeah.
So I think people want to see traction, but I think it's doable, especially when we leverage AI. In the past couple of years, AI has allowed you to build SaaS product really quickly,
And test it.
and use like much lower expenses, and get it out there, and then just improve it incrementally. Get your first clients and.
Right. So your biggest payoff came from MobPartner. I'm trying to understand that business because in that time it's basically mobile advertising, right? So if I say that to somebody today, it's gonna be mobile advertising. Why would I get into that? Because it's like when I think of that, it's like some company helps you send an SMS message to another company, and that's the idea of mobile advertising in my head.
So okay, so it wasn't like that. So so what we did is the mobile internet was just starting. Okay, so there was a Japanese system called iMode, which was the first mobile internet ecosystem. Okay. So that NTT Docomo had launched it all over Europe. And that iMode was the precursor of all of the mobile internet and all of the app stores. But there was no app store, so it was all browsing. It was all WAP,
Okay.
which is like a very old technology. But that's what it was. So it was color, and then there was a few downloadable games, which were in Java.
Okay.
Right.
So to make all of that function, there was two business models. One, you charge a subscription or you charge for a download. So the telco charges you on your telephone bill, and then the content provider gets the money,
Gets the money,
right?
right.
And then the other model is you supplement that, or you do it 100% with ads.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So serving those ads, Google and Meta didn't exist, so they needed a way to serve ads. So that's how we got into it.
That's how you got into that.
Yeah.
So you were a very early mover into this.
Yeah. So, and really because of iMode, because of that Japanese technology, finally it ended up, dying because now mobile internet was everywhere, right? But that took time. So all the telcos joined that, et cetera. We merged with a company. We basically bought a company that had a link exchange,
Okay.
right? But mobile link exchange. So it was a platform that allowed you to generate traffic,
Okay.
and so that was monetized.
Okay.
So there was like hundreds of thousands of mobile websites on WAP.
Okay.
And to get traffic, they would post their link and a backlink. So that's how you would go from one site to another site to another site to another site.
That's interesting. So I'm curious. So you were the first mover here, and this is really interesting.
This is in
because
France, huh? By the way.
Yeah.
This is in France. So this industry obviously changed as technology changed very rapidly, right? So I'm curious to understand how you thought about adapting to each change, where you got to the point where you could exit. So you moved into this early stage, as you described. Can you take us through the changes that happened in the technology space and how you adapted to that? Because from what I understand also, there was a lot of scams and frauds, and that because the market became saturated. How did you avoid drowning out?
It was a race against time because there was a lot of scams. There was a lot of unwholesome content also, like really weird stuff, right? Because it was unregulated.
Yeah.
So we had to do a lot of moderation. And that's personally why I got out
Okay.
of that business, and I exited because I wasn't okay for it. It started like automatically one of the main generators of revenue on an unregulated space like that's going to be porn.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, my
Conscience.
my conscience just like, no, I can't do this. So that's why I started another company, which is app stores, and I exited and I used that money on my new company. Yeah.
Right.
Because and my partners, they continued on for a few years, but they ended up also exiting.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So how did you internally ensure that the company didn't drown out in the competition?
You gotta have young people who like always recruit new people who have ideas, and just make sure that people keep coming up with new ideas, and they're like, because it goes really fast, right? But it's the same today with AI, right? You gotta be fast, and you gotta be always looking for new ideas and trying new things. So yeah, that's what we did. I'm not from a tech background, right? So I had a really tech guy who I made one of my partners, and we acquired another company, and that guy was not so into tech, but he was really good at new ideas. So yeah, just like surround yourself with the right people.
And you had 200 million users at one point on this, right? I'm curious, you sold it to Cheetah, which is a Chinese company. What value would the Chinese company have with this database? I'm asking the tough questions.
I mean, they're like the Americans. They want to control the world,
Yeah.
Oh, you're expecting him to ask this?
Well, Tell me off camera.
Maybe it's the CIA.
I'm curious
Like your guest last week.
What exactly does Kenai Solutions, which is the company you founded after you came back to Sri Lanka, maybe you can give us an idea of what Kenai Solutions does and how that differs from Beyond Technologies, which is also a company you run?
Yeah.
2 companies.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So Kenai is, let's put it this way, was a traditionally software company developing software for other people, right? We were specialized in IoT devices. So we did dash cams, sensors for like clean cities, things used by the automobile industry, stuff like that. So we had to work oftentimes with manufacturers in China or Korea or Philippines, and client in the UK or the US, and we were the software.
Anything IoT?
Yeah.
Right,
A lot. I wouldn't say 100%, but like 80%.
Okay.
And we had a pretty good model because we had 75% of our software team in Sri Lanka and 25% of it in Algeria.
Interesting.
Okay.
So the Algerians, linguistically, they speak 3 languages, which is cool. They speak French, English, and Arabic. And they're Mediterranean, so they're really good at comms. And they tell the truth, right? And then the Sri Lankan guys are more easygoing, but they don't talk much, and they don't tell the truth. Come on, you know that about
fair enough,
Asians don't tell the truth, unfortunately.
That is a stereotype.
So is it okay? Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. But they don't understand. So the Algerian guy will say, hold on, we don't understand.
Yeah.
You're not clear.
Yeah.
They'll be a little bit rude, but so the Sri Lankans and the Algerians, there was a dream team.
They got along well?
They got along super well. So we had like cultural days where the Algerians would tell their culture and the Sri Lankans would tell their culture. And we had these things called coffee dates where we would just randomly pick people and they would, because it was all online, right? Obviously. Incredible mix. And salary cost was similar between Algeria and Sri Lanka. So it worked. And the Americans and the British, they really liked talking to the Algerians because the Algerians were straight talking.
Up.
Yeah. I mean, I did have a couple of Sri Lankans who had that capability, but generally they wouldn't ask questions. So that was a good mix. I think that whole industry, unless you're really huge, is not going to survive because of AI. So like smaller 50 to 100 software teams, I don't think that they're going to survive.
Like software companies in general?
So custom software, I think they'll struggle.
Right.
Or there's going to be far less.
How does it work in practice? Is it because now non-technical people can use AI to do similar things that these companies are doing, or what do you think?
Not non-technical.
Okay.
So, like, let's say you want to build a SaaS solution.
Yeah.
You can't. A non-technical guy will struggle. So you need an super experienced guy who understands databases, who is clever, who understands front end, back end, and that guy can build a SaaS solution alone.
Yeah.
Which before would take a team of 10.
Yeah.
So that is a game changer for software companies.
But that requires a techie who's holistic in his approach, right? And not anyone's. But then we have.
So the low-level guys,
Yeah.
they're going to lose their jobs.
So then would you give advice to people to be generalists rather than specialized?
You're going to need some specialists, but you got to be top of your game. You got to understand what you're building. You can't be just a cog in the wheel. A software engineer that's just like, I'm coding and I'm satisfied coding, they're out. That's what I feel. Like in the next 4 or 5 years, or maybe less, they're out. They're gone.
Right.
Wouldn't they have a great edge trying to start their own company,
Yeah.
like you said?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Start their own company or, become specialists in vibe coding. But let's say vibe coding, right?
Sure.
You need to understand what you're building.
Yeah.
You need to really understand. You can't just be a dumb coder.
Yeah. Well, what's stopping anyone else from really copying you if you can just vibe code it?
Creativity, ideas. Yeah, I mean, it's challenging, but yeah.
Well, that's what I find interesting, right? Because that's why I initially asked you about the changes that you've seen in technology. The way I see it now is it's much easier to start something, but it's also much easier for everyone else to follow suit because the barriers to entry has dropped equally.
Yeah.
So in a world like that, how would you suggest entrepreneurs go about it? Because not everyone is creative enough, but maybe they have perseverance, maybe they are good operators.
Attach themselves to get someone on the team who's creative.
So they need to find an Algerian.
No, the Algerians were good at communication.
All right.
Not necessarily creativity. I've found plenty of creative people here in Sri Lanka. It's just that they were good at comps.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I think. I mean, it's a valid point. The barriers have dropped, but there's still so many SaaS solutions that can be made.
Yeah.
There's lots of platforms that can be built. Lots of solutions that still. Look at the banking sector here in Sri Lanka. It's a mess.
Oh, it's a disaster.
The other day, I had to withdraw money from a Western Union. It took me 45 minutes. Now, I don't understand how the bank could even make money because it was 100 euros. Somebody sent me 100 euros. And I was like, I put it off because but I was finally like, I'm going to get it. It took me 45 minutes, 11 signatures.
What?
11 signatures. I'm not going to name the bank because I work for them. So, but how can they make money? They made maybe 50 rupees. That's the commission they make. They're not. So there's plenty of software that needs to be built to re-engineer.
There's plenty of opportunity to capture is what
Exactly. So the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So if anything, these companies are just going to multiply, right? Because if you think about
Like you mean like solution providers?
Yes, SaaS, I mean
Yeah.
software companies in general, because if there's massive teams of software developers that are, say, getting laid off, all of them have more of a capability than a non-technical guy to go out and build these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
It is. I mean, I went to Kunaragala to do like a training for SMEs.
Yeah.
And I met 3 or 4 young people and some not so young who had pretty cool SaaS solutions. I have to say they were pretty cool. So these guys built it. So yeah, I think that's the future. Building software for others, maybe some of the big guys with economy of scale or people who have like captive clients will survive. And the others, I think, are going to get wiped out.
So you're very embedded into the startup ecosystem, the SME ecosystem here.
I mean, so the thing is that most of my business is in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So my digital marketing company, like 80% of the business is in Europe. But listen, I live in this country. I've been here 9 years, and I got to give back, right? So I pay, all my salary and everything goes to the country, but I help out EKAD, which is, it's a body that depends for the Ministry of Technology, and they really want to help startups. They want to help this ecosystem.
Do they?
Yeah, sincerely they do. And what I have seen, and they're super surprised, but this government really has their back.
Okay.
Yeah, like the first time ever. And what's crazy is they didn't vote for them.
Right.
They're all people who voted for other
Right.
parties, and they're super pleasantly surprised.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard
And
that.
for the first time ever, the guys who are at the Ministry of Technology or Industry, they know what they're talking about. They actually are from the industry. They actually can communicate. They can do slide presentations. They've been coached. This is crazy. And the
that
meetings
our
are in English. The meetings are in English. Before they were in Sinhala. Here they're in English, translated into Sinhala and Tamil. No, things have
Right, yeah,
really
yeah.
changed.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah, I hope they're not using PowerPoint though. I'd be really disappointed. Actually, you know what?
Listen, already
interesting.
PowerPoint's a big step up.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Can we talk about how AI is used in your own life, in your own company? I think we were talking briefly about how you use it in daily processes. But I saw online it's branded as like a AI-driven company? What does it mean to be AI driven really? How does a founder implement such a...
Obviously, there's some marketing to that,
Of
right?
course, yeah, of course.
So this is for our digital marketing company.
Yeah, beyond technology.
Beyond technologies, yeah. So we're a small team. We're about 20 people, right? And the vast majority of our clients are based in Europe. We just got a really cool client in Kenya, which is not in the pharma sector, but most of them are in the pharma sector, pharmaceutical business.
You're specialized in pharma.
Yes.
More or less.
Yes. That's the vast majority of our business, but we do some other stuff, right? Which makes it exciting. It's good for the guys also to do different things. But yeah, our bread and butter is the pharma.
Can you give us a quick description of what you guys do in the pharma space?
Yeah, sure. So pharma companies need doctors to use their medicine. So how do they do that? They're not allowed in most countries to advertise to the doctors directly. It's a little bit different in the US, but generally they can't advertise to doctors. So they have marketing budgets. What they do with those marketing budgets is they give them to medical societies. So let's say some of the societies are fairly general, like, Heart Association, or Kidney Association of Australia, or France, or Europe, or the US. And some of them are very, very niche, like specific type of diabetes, okay, whatever. So
are these funded by the government of those?
No, they're usually founded by doctors.
Or doctors, okay.
Right? And there's usually a country one. So like in Sri Lanka, there's a number of medical societies. And every country has that. But then like in Europe, it's regional, right? So it's all of Europe, right? And then the States is a huge market. So they also have, but it can be super, super specific, like, I don't know, celiac society, right? So very, very, very specific. So the pharma companies give money to those societies to create awareness. So those societies organize conferences, webinars, seminars. Some of them are online, some of them are in person, and some of them are hybrid. For those conferences to function, community has to be built, right? So you need to invite the people. So that requires like an email campaign, advertising on LinkedIn, advertising on Twitter, advertising on maybe on Meta or Google. Articles have to be written, posts have to be made. That's pre-conference. And then the content that's generated at the conference needs to be put online. And then post-conference, these professors that spoke. Yeah. So that community building is what we do.
Wow. Okay. I love that because you said you can't, pharmaceutical companies can't advertise to doctors. So you decided to start a marketing company aimed at them. Love it.
Yeah. And it's all done right here in Sri Lanka. I mean, the vast majority of our work is done here in Sri Lanka. So our guys have super specialized.
Right. And what's the AI included in this? Because just to be very, like I've mentioned this once before as well, but there was somebody who had a company and he just incorporated AI into it and his value 5x'd. And he sold it at an exit of 5x, right? Were you having that sort of thought where you're like...
No, so we really use AI every step of the way. So the way we start, so let's say we get a new company or a new conference, but it can be even a company, like we have a safari company in Kenya.
Okay.
So completely different business.
Okay.
So we do a strategy. What's their target market? What are the type of customers that they need to target, the countries that they need to target, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we build a strategy. That strategy, we use AI to build it.
Okay.
Right? So we have super smart people, super young, talented guys and girls at our team who build the strategy, but they use AI to crunch numbers, to find what are the keywords, to find, to discover patterns and stuff like that. They build a strategy, okay? We present it to the client, and the clients pay for those strategies, by the way.
Right.
Then there's the implementation part. To implement it, we need AI because we're going to make a content plan. right? So every month we have X number of pieces of content, written, so textual, images, video. To build that content, we're going to use AI. Now, it's not going to replace humans because we need the creativity of humans, and AI can hallucinate also, right? But we're going to use AI to speed up the process, to maximize the effort. So one person today can do what two used to do.
Right.
So that's why our team is 20. If we didn't do that, we'd have to be, 40, 30.
But it would never get to 40 or 30 because of AI now. It will stay lean.
It'll stay leaner, yeah. Yeah. Obviously, like any company, we want to grow, but yeah, AI and it keeps evolving, right?
It is, yeah.
It keeps evolving. So, for example, we use AI to help us build like a website. Yeah. So that speeds up the whole process. So instead of having several dumb coders, we have a guy who's super smart, and he can do it by himself.
How do you view the difference between Europe and Sri Lanka in terms of AI usage? Or rather incorporation of AI into our processes?
Into companies?
Into our business processes, yeah.
I think it's about. I would think it's about the same. People are. I think people everywhere are understanding that they have to use AI. I think that there is a lot of people who are annoyed with AI. Like my kids are annoyed with AI, although they use it, but they're annoyed. Oh, that's AI. That's AI generated data. Look at that ad. It's AI. So they're annoyed, and I think a lot of young people are annoyed. There was like a lot of young people in the States. There's been some surveys. They hate AI.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because they fear what AI is going to do, and it's true. It can stop you from thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
For
so
sure.
That's the bad side of AI.
If used wrong.
If we're trying to replace you from thinking, humans are the creative. AI is not creative.
Yeah.
You have a creative idea. AI can help you execute it. But some people use AI as the creation tool, and it's lousy. I mean, frankly, it's pretty bad.
For creativity, it's lousy.
Yeah.
It's lousy, for sure. Yeah. You end up with some generic template of something, yeah.
Yeah, and like weird stuff in the middle, like what's that doing there? I mean, there's a lot of that.
How does, maybe I'm getting a bit too technical here from a marketing standpoint, but how does the content change in the pharma space specifically? Do you all, I know you use AI to help with the creation process, but the actual content itself, is there any sort of implication of in the pharma space of using AI content? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we can't generate, like say, text on image just with AI. It can help us because there's like specific rules, specific words that need to be used and stuff like that. So obviously you can prompt to a certain extent, but then the effort also in doing all those prompts, is it really worth it? So,
That's true,
so, but let's say you want to create a content plan. I'm just going to take a concrete example. You need to create a content plan. So for our clients, we create a content plan every month. We present it to them. So creating that content plan, it doesn't need to be perfect. They need to understand approximately what they're going to have. That used to take hours and hours and hours of work, right? Because building an image takes time. That has been vastly reduced.
Yeah.
Now, they approve it, you're going to still need human tweaking, human work on it, but you've cut down the process.
Right.
Where is it going in like 2 years, 3 years from now?
AI is going to take over the world, and we're going to all lose our jobs, and we're going to have to farm. No, I don't. No, I don't know. There's a lot of doomsayers out there. I'm not so sure. For the moment, the creativity of, let's say, in my team, I don't think that it can be replaced by AI. The customer, understanding the customer, what they need, and stuff like that. I don't think that that can be done by AI. I think strategy also, for the moment, we have several people who do strategy, including an American lady with pharma background. I don't see her or my team, or the rest of the team, being replaced right now by AI.
Because the niche is too specific, is it?
Yeah.
And the AI will never understand the nuances
Yeah.
that human beings will
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
So maybe with time you could coach AI enough. I'm not sure. Let's see how it develops. Yeah, but we'll roll with the punches, man.
Right.
So you mentioned before, maybe I'm digressing a bit, but you mentioned before that you're starting a software SaaS app.
Yes.
So are we allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, why
Okay,
not?
cool.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So why choose to do that in a world where, would you say that software companies are threatened by the existence of Cloud Code and all of these different coding tools that non-technical people can use to do the same thing a company was doing?
I don't believe that non-technical people can actually build.
Say
SaaS.
combined with another technical person who is the kind of companies you were talking
Yeah,
about
but
before.
why would a company do that?
In a sense?
So okay, let's say you're an agency.
Sure.
Are you going to spend your time building your own tool to manage? So the SaaS tool that we're building is to manage time tracking and profitability of each individual, each project, each team, against the overheads, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I feel that it's too much work for someone to do. Not coding work, thinking about it, putting it together, structuring it.
Yeah.
So do they have the time? Do they have the time and the energy to do that? Like an agency is always just in time, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, you have to keep your overheads low, right? Because if not, it eats into your profit margin. So will agencies around the world have the time and energy to do that when they can just pay $2 a person and use some other solution?
So that's the gap you're trying to
Yeah,
solve here.
yeah, and I think myself and so many others, I think that's why SaaS solutions keep popping up all over the world, and they're light and they're easy to use, and and there's still so many things that need to be solved. So I see huge opportunity for that type of software company.
What should Sri Lanka be doing in that sense? You mentioned you go and lecture these SMEs in Kurunegala and all of these other rural areas. How do they take is there an AI conversation at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How do they take that?
Well, they're all jumping on Cursor and Claude, and they're smart. These young guys are like young guys and girls. In fact, they're smart and they're hungry, and I'm sure there's going to be some great companies that are going to come out of these. Some will fail, but.
So I kind of also want to, since we're going to go to Sri Lanka, I want to go to the startup ecosystem, right? And we can combine that with AI. You're saying that they will do well, but I'm more pessimistic about this because
I'm sorry about that.
we are living. I know. I wish I wasn't. I think everyone should try to start their business, like you said, of course. But to play devil's advocate, they're very limited in how much they can scale, right? As long as they are operating out of here.
Why?
You don't believe so? Because again, that goes back to
You mean
how
to
much
scale to get customers or to build their solution?
to build the solution and scale up, because that will require capital. So there is no mechanism in this country to even partner up with foreign investors. You mentioned Hatch, but Hatch is just one organization, right? So if we want to have a wide ecosystem, we need multiple organizations,
Absolutely.
right? So Hatch being one is great, but okay, maybe they can do 4 or 5.
Yeah. No, there needs to be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that ecosystem, what have you seen? Have you seen companies that would do very well, but they just can't raise the capital? You see very good talent, but they just can't find the partnerships necessary. Maybe they need a mentor,
So that's a really good point. I think mentors are
Important?
super important. And I'm available if anybody needs a mentor, so just putting that out there. No, seriously, I can't. There's a limit to what you can do, but
course.
I'd love to help one or two companies, find the right positioning, and maybe the right connections. And I think, okay, so one really cool thing that would help Sri Lanka easily is, and I believe that the government is kind of going in that direction. It has to be super easy for foreigners to come and set up here. So they want to set up a company, especially in the tech space. They should make it super easy because they're going to latch up with these local talent, and they're going to help them.
Yep.
And they're going to grow, and they'll find each other. Maybe we can make forums so that they can find each other, but they'll find each other. And foreigners will love to come to Sri Lanka. I mean, people in Europe are looking to leave. And so they're moving to Southern Europe or to other countries.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah, Southeast Asia. So I know there's a new Nomad visa, which is really cool. And I'm super proud of the guys at the Ministry of Technology and EKAD that put this in place because it's very flexible. They ask minimal questions. Setting up a company in Sri Lanka is already fairly easy. I mean, it's not
To register.
To register, yeah. It's not very difficult.
To register is easy, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the Nomad visa is just $1,000
It's
a month.
$2,000 for a person or a couple.
Right,
And then you have to pay 18% tax,
right.
VAT on it, which is 18% tax. That's okay.
Right. But if I'm not mistaken, you've been here 9 years.
Yeah.
You would still need visa every year if I'm...
Yeah, I
So
know.
that's the thing.
Yeah, it sucks a little bit. So they promised to give me a 2-year visa next year. So let's hope that it happens.
Okay.
But yeah, it sucks. And the immigration authorities are completely disconnected from this. So they have no idea about tech. They have no idea about business. You can own a spa and you can own a software company. They treat you the same. They're suspicious. They're rude. And they're overworked. It's not 100% their fault. They're probably nice people, but the system sucks. They need to re-engineer the
whole
flow.
thing.
I don't know if have you ever gone to the visa office?
Yeah.
So you see your passport goes here, then it goes here, then it comes here, comes back there, and these guys running around with your passport. So I feel sorry for them. They need to maybe rebuild a new solution for that and re-engineer the flow. Anyway, that's not the subject.
But I agree, the passport office needs some work.
Yeah, the whole immigration thing. But yeah, if you really want Sri Lanka to be a tech hub, you got to bring in foreign talent. Let them start companies here. They'll bring in capital. They'll give exposure to the people. Get them to set up in faraway places where life is cheaper. Galle, Trinco, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hikadua, Herikitia.
Arugambe.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
And people will come and set up businesses if you make it easy.
What does it mean to make it easy, exactly, if you have to put it into words?
Easy to set up a company, easy to get a visa with some legitimate controls, right? Basically, you don't want scam artists and crooks coming.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe some help on how labor laws and stuff like that, because Sri Lanka has very
strict labor.
Yeah, the labor laws are more like European labor laws, so it's hard to fire people and stuff like that. So maybe some help, like a framework, which is easy to understand. Maybe some guidelines and stuff like that, and some.
Do you not get that at the moment? You had to proactively do your research. And
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing. Maybe for BY companies or something, but for a normal, let's say you want to set up a software team of 20 people, there's nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing, but nobody bugs you. There's very few rules.
They just don't care about you.
They just don't care. But even opening up a bank account, the banks, they don't know. They see a Sudha, they're like, what do we do?
Hi guys, if you enjoy this conversation so far, please do like and subscribe. Now back to the video.
But everyone's really polite and nice, but they're a little confused. So they maybe need to have to make some rules. When they sent me the text of the Nomad visa, right? So I asked, can they open a bank account? Yeah. So I said, but do the banks know that? And they were like, oh. So they need to train the banks and the tax office and all of these guys on how to, this is how you deal with people who have a Nomad visa, for example. Right?
Right.
Imagine a guy comes from Ireland and is a nomad, and he sets up in Herikitya, and then he has to deal with inland revenue.
Yeah.
They don't speak English.
Yeah.
They're rude.
Yeah.
So how is he going to deal with them? Do they know about this 18% VAT and how it works?
Yeah.
So that's I think that's got to be sorted.
Yeah.
But
And
that's
you
not a big deal. They can do it.
It's fixable.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
communication, planning, training.
Well, and it's unfortunate because this guy could be building a unicorn.
Yeah.
You never know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what has your experience been in the start? Because we kind of disagreed off camera, because you said it's like, it's an amazing place to have a startup. You need to do it. This is the place to be. And then
I said that?
Yeah, yes, you did. You said that. We have the raw footage.
Oh, God.
So why do you believe that? Because we have I think we have a similar view, and we kind of oppose that because from our experience, it has been extremely bureaucratic, extremely difficult to form connections, the right people, right? And part of that is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the risk-averse culture that we have where we do not encourage entrepreneurs, where we do not encourage questions, risk takers.
That being said, I think it's improving.
Oh yeah, it's improving.
I think that I don't know if it's Western, but this whole like tech wave, startup wave is definitely seeping in, especially in the digital space.
But
at least in Colombo.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's too concentrated in one
yeah, that's
location. Even in the concentrated area, you can't find what you want to find. It's not like Silicon Valley. The value comes from finding the connections and going from there.
No, definitely. I mean, I went to a forum that was organized by the Prime Minister, so there was all these tech students who came from all over the country.
Our Prime Minister, not the Nepali one, right?
Yeah, not the Nepali one. Yeah. And it was well organized, and there was all these young people. I think it was good, but there's got to be a lot more of that.
Yeah.
Like from the grassroots school level, start a business, solve problems with tech. And it's got to, parents want their kids to be accountants.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Accountants are going to be wiped out.
gonna be wiped
AI is going to replace accountants.
For sure.
That's a lack of education, though, I think, right?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah. I mean, you want to talk about the education system?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's part of the problem. So just finish on the tech
Yeah.
startup.
Yeah.
They need exposure. So bring in as many foreigners as possible, make it super easy to set up companies, and then have forums where young people mix with these guys. And do it all over the country, or bring them to Colombo if you can't get them to go. And because exposure, diversity, that it just like fosters a lot of great ideas and access to capital, connections, et cetera. So I think the government could play a role there, or maybe some sort of NGOs or whatever.
My issue with that is we got PayPal only recently. This is what we're dealing with. We got PayPal just this
But you
month.
got it.
But
And
that's
Google
the thing.
Pay.
Should we not
I paid with
expect-
Google Pay today. I was so happy. At Barry's, I was like, I forgot my wallet. And I was like, oh darn. And
Google
do
Pay.
you accept Google Pay? Yes. Wow. Yeah. So. Okay. So it's slow,
But then
but it could be a lot worse.
But
Well, by
it
that
could be a lot
one,
better, though.
Yeah.
because everyone else is just they're leaping, with AI.
Who is everyone else?
Well, the West for one.
The West
India
is not
for one.
monolithic.
India.
Yeah, even India. Yeah.
okay.
They're taking so much business away. So for example.
You think so?
Yeah, so for example.
I think Sri Lankans are more creative than Indians.
So the top three, saying Sri Lankans are more creative than Indians.
Yeah. So,
Okay, let's just.
and I think they have more exposure.
I highly disagree with that.
Actually, let's assume that is true. But the system just is more conducive towards hiring Indians than Sri Lankans, even though we may be more creative or talented.
Yeah, but Americans are fed up with Indians now. Sorry if there's any Indian listeners, but seriously, they're fed up with the.
Are you referring to hiring Indian talent specifically?
Yeah.
I think the opposite is happening in America, at least. At least being in
Well,
recruitment.
they're not hiring anybody now because the H-1B visa's dead.
But not for sales roles, right? But for pure technical roles, I mean, Indians would be.
Yeah, but I mean, they produce so many. So
Right.
there's like, they produce
bigger bucks.
hundreds of thousands a year. So obviously, in that volume, they suck up a lot of the jobs.
Even less so about a technical role and more in terms of like a founder, someone bringing in new products, bringing in new companies. You see so many Indians doing that now, especially they're moving into the US space like crazy. Why can't we do that is the question. So when we move slower, the problem is that we are widening that gap by a lot.
I mean, Sri Lanka has only 22 million, and you
Sure.
have of the top 5 richest ethnicities in the United States, Sri Lanka's in there.
Yeah, they're number 2.
Yeah. So come on.
But that
Sri Lankans are doing good.
That's for those who are leaving. So then the option is, okay, you got to leave your country to do well.
Which is another problem.
Yeah. But so why can't Sri Lankans make a product and sell it to India? And why are they so against India anyway?
Why not? Exactly.
Just make a product and sell it to India.
Yeah, but
Instead of the Indians making products and selling it to Sri Lanka, which doesn't make sense for them because they're 1.4 billion and they're selling to 22 million. Sri Lankan target the Indian market.
for sure.
If I can give you an example,
Yeah, go ahead.
The top 3.
We're not really disagreeing here, you know that.
I think we are.
I think your argument is that, okay, we need to be glad that it's happening. Argument is that it's not happening fast enough because the rest of the world is just leapfrogging.
Well, my argument is that the system is so upside down here because we had 3 companies here, like IFS was one. They fired half their staff. WSO2, which is a big company, they fired half
The
their
CEO
staff.
just resigned.
The CEO resigned, right? So these are the working professionals, young middle-class professionals who just lost their jobs. Where did they move their operations to? India.
Right.
That's just purely out of the fact that it's just not worth the hassle, the bureaucracy, the upside down incentives of Sri Lanka. So it has nothing to do with the people. It has everything to do with the system. So you could have the talent, but if the system is not conducive, what is the point?
Yeah,
That's
and I
my
think also
point.
I think one of the reasons also Sri Lankan developers or talented Sri Lankans are expensive now. So you can get cheaper people in other countries. So of a similar caliber.
Expensive in with regards to like
Salary.
in like US sense or like
I mean, not a U.S. sense, but like if you compare to other
India and
developing,
Sri Lankan,
India,
fair enough.
Pakistan, Philippines, Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Those are the people you're
Yeah,
competing
yeah,
against,
fair
right?
enough.
If you're competing in that market.
Yeah, for sure.
fair enough.
So that's why I don't think like a big software company that does custom-made software is the future. I think it's got to be like entrepreneurs that grow and sell their products and I mean, maybe get acquired by an Indian company for sure. And they'll probably move the production to India. It's just there's so much more people, right?
Okay, so let's say we get over all the hurdles of Sri Lanka. You create an amazing product, right? And you want to export it to international markets. This is something that you're an expert in. So what would you tell young entrepreneurs? How would you go about this? What should they know to deal with international clients and sell to them?
Okay, that's a good question. So, so first of all, they have to understand what their niche is, right? And they have to respond to the needs. Let's say their first clients are Sri Lankan. They have to understand the markets that they're going to tackle. Do they have similar problems, right? And I'm sure they do. So, and there's a lot of markets that are similar to Sri Lanka, Kenya, like lots of countries in Africa, other countries in Asia, which are similar size, and I think should be fairly easy to speak English to target. So I would don't try right away US, try these other markets. And the barrier to entry might not be as high. and tackle the English speaking because that's easy, right? And before you go into other languages.
Right.
And I think then the second thing, and this is difficult for Sri Lankans, their customer service has to be spot on.
Right. Yeah.
And so Sri Lankans are, I'm sorry, really crap at it. Because, so the origin of it is criticism
Yeah.
is an affront. It's like
Yeah.
a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Right? Like, have you ever gone onto Airbnb or Booking.com and someone says, "Oh yeah, the sheets were dirty." No, they weren't dirty. But it's just really easy to say, "Well, I'm so sorry you had a bad experience. The next time you come, we'll give you the room for free."
Yeah.
Easy. No, they argue. But why? So customer service.
It's so true.
So customer service, they gotta train people on how to answer. So I use a CRM for our company, and it's a CRM from Zoho.
Okay.
And their customer service is Indian. Yeah. But their customer service is good. You ask a question, within a minute or two, someone answers. They're polite, and they give you the answer.
Right.
And you don't need to like do crazy stuff, but just like you need to be, like have the answers, first of all. Have you ever called customer service? I'll say one of the telcos. Let's not name names. Please be on the line.
Yeah.
It's a song going for like 5 minutes.
Then someone else comes, "Oh, hold on a second."
Yeah.
Or they cut you.
Yeah.
Or they can't speak English. Or they can't speak Tamil. Or they can't speak, I don't know, whatever. Right? I mean, it's terrible. And no one knows. No one can answer. So that's customer service. They have to have most of the answers.
I find that so ironic because if you go on Sri Lankan job markets, all you see is customer service jobs.
They're terrible.
So it's
Because
so
they're terrible. But it's not necessarily their fault. Were they trained?
That's fair point. Absolutely right.
So yeah, somebody who does a SaaS product and wants to sell, their customer service has to be like
Client servicing.
on the ball,
Yeah.
like above, right? Because
yeah.
especially when you're a small guy, you got to be
Yeah.
right. In our company, we use a chat tool, like a community chat tool, similar to Slack, but we use an Indian one.
Okay.
Called Flock. All right. And obviously everyone says, "I'll flock it to you." Okay. Anyway, we joined up like when they were just a startup, and I said, "Hey, we're using your product. I'll write some blog articles about you. Can I have a discount?" "Yeah, sure." And you know what? Now, 8 years later, I still have the same discount, and there's still customer service is good. So you gotta be like that, right? You wanna bite into the big guys. You gotta hustle, right? So I think that is, if there's any entrepreneurs out there listening to this, that's some of the stuff that you gotta do. You gotta be ready to pivot, be faster, be hungry.
I take it you're not a believer in work-life balance.
No, I am. I have a garden. And every morning I go and feed my rabbits and I have rabbits, okay, and squirrels. And but you know what? I go and trim the plants and whatnot. I for some reason decided to start up a company that makes chili sauces, but it's part of work-life balance, right? It's like just.
Yeah.
You know, and
But would you say someone in their 20s can afford to do that?
have work-life balance.
Yeah.
Especially an entrepreneur?
They have to
Really?
go to the gym. I don't know, go hiking, go surfing, do something else, because when you do, your brain is aerated and you're so much.
Fair. I understand that.
Do you guys go to the gym?
Not as much. No.
I've been trying for months.
But when you go to the
I have a
gym,
good work-life balance, but there
At
are
one
times
point.
where it's just this.
It's very up and down.
right?
Yeah.
But when you go to the gym, you go in the
It helps.
mornings,
It helps.
you're
It
so
helps
much
a lot.
smarter.
For sure.
That's so true.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So I guess that's also, you learn that maybe as you get older, you gotta you don't have as much energy, so you gotta be able to, keep that balance. But yeah, I think work-life balance is, and Sri Lanka is a great place for that. Go
I'm about to
surfing, go
disagree
hiking.
again.
All right.
Okay, in that regard. Sure. Yeah, I understand.
Come on, you just very close by. You can go to waterfalls. You can go hiking.
So you've never felt like you had to compromise on life
Personal
aspects, personal life aspects?
You mean being in
because
Sri Lanka?
being an entrepreneur?
I mean, yeah, there's times.
A lot.
No, there's times when it gets out of hand, but that's
Yeah.
not a good thing, I feel. Like having a work-life balance helps you to be smarter and
But that's
more
a
productive.
product of the choice that you make, right?
Anybody, accountants do the same. They work too much. Bankers, the same. I mean, I think it's just, that's what everyone expects, like the Japanese model where you work yourself to the bone. But is that really good?
Of course not for,
Depends
not
on your
for social
worldview
fabric.
also, though, right?
What do you mean?
But some people, I think, prefer doing that as opposed to even having a balance.
But then they
That's
say-
just how they're
Right, but then,
wired.
but that's wired or trained?
Yeah. Well, trained by who?
Trained by the system. Okay, look, everybody, if you ask somebody, what gives you happiness in life? People will tell you, well, having meaningful connections, having good friends, having a family around you, having love, nature, etc., etc. But what do they teach you in school? Get good grades, get a degree, make lots of money. But does that bring happiness?
Do you think that a lot of people are still, they kind of succumb to that
Yeah,
whole school ideal? Though?
of course.
Maybe majority though. But what yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying having a degree or getting a good
Yeah.
job is bad. It's good, but it's got to be balanced with, I don't know, whatever your passion is. You know, sailing, surfing, running, Ironman. Do something physical. Have a work-life balance because you'll be happier.
Well, that comes down to mindsets, right?
And
How
have a
you
beer.
View. It comes down to mindsets and how you view the world. If I think about the West and the whole idea of entrepreneurship is there's no work-life balance, you have to hustle and grind. And then when I think about the culture in Sri Lanka, which comes back to the education system, is that we are humiliated for asking questions. If you take a risk and you fail, you are shunned.
Yeah,
You know?
it's true.
And so I teach at a university every now and then, and I have a very difficult time getting answers, getting some sort of intellectual driving questions,
Analytics.
nothing, right? It's about what do I say to be right? If I'm wrong, I'm about to get humiliated
Yeah.
and shamed.
Yeah.
And that's a product of the system and the education
it's
system.
terrible.
It's what
I
our
agree.
teachers teach us.
Yeah.
How could we possibly create a startup culture, create a culture like
No, true. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's true. And unfortunately, for example, in Sri Lanka, a lot of minorities in Sri Lanka are entrepreneurs because they're hustlers and they're taught to question the system. And so, whereas the majority ethnicities struggle more with that, unfortunately, it's not their fault. So I think there's two things, education and culture. So the education system produces, so my background, I went to school in the US, I went to school in France, and I did a little bit of British school in the Bahamas. So, forget it. Every education system has their pluses and minuses, okay? So for example, in the US, people are taught from a young age to present themselves, like right from kindergarten, show and tell, argue your point, team activities, and they're really good at that. In general knowledge, they're super ignorant. They don't know anything about the world.
Yeah.
I mean, Americans are terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, Europeans. Now, I put my kids into a French school here in Colombo. You know, my 10-year-old is reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Really?
Yeah. And, you know, he struggled, but he persevered, and now he's getting it. He's understanding the nuances of racism and stuff like that. 10. So that's the European system. It's heavily focused on intellectual knowledge, literature, philosophy, history, geography, and they're really good at that. On the other hand, they're really bad at presenting themselves because that's not in the European system. And I mean, I say European, it's not monolithic, and every country is a little bit different.
Yeah.
French system. Let's
Right.
play. Okay. So in Sri Lanka, the schools produce, I mean, people are smart here. Literacy is high, but they don't know what's going on in the world. They don't even know their own culture. Like, if you ask Sri Lankans, do you know how many ethnicities there are in Sri Lanka? Tamil, Sinhalese. And even that, they might struggle. You know, there's 30 or 40 ethnicities here in Sri Lanka.
That's true.
Yeah, like there's African Sri Lankans. You ask a Sri Lankan, do you know where baila music comes from? They have no clue that it has African origins. They're like stunned, right? So Sri Lanka is producing all of these people who don't have just basic knowledge, and they're not taught to question, repeat. So they're stuck in the system that the English built hundreds of years ago, and they haven't modernized. Like even the haircuts, they still have the old haircuts. You can't cut your hair the way you
military
want.
cuts.
Yeah, like the boys, they have all these funny haircuts. The girls have to have their braids. I mean, that was good maybe 50 years ago. What does that have to do with education?
Yeah.
But that's more important than learning to analyze things or ask questions or challenge the teacher. And then everybody does tuition classes. What's wrong with people? Why?
Tuition culture, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a huge industry now, so it's going to be tough to eradicate it. But kids need to do sports or do arts.
It's untaxed, by the way.
It's on tax.
It's billions.
It's crazy. It's a huge industry. So like all my friends, I'm like, why are you putting your kids through
To tuition class.
Yeah, come on, let them go play. Let them go do something fun. I don't know. Put them in theater or art class or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's because they say, oh yeah, but the teachers are terrible. Well, then the education system, there's a problem. Obviously, there's a problem.
Well, the teachers are kind of terrible because they're going home and giving tuition, so they're
Okay, there you go.
incentivized
So it's
to
like a
become
whole
in school.
that has to be fixed. So that whole education thing is messed up in Sri Lanka. Seriously, I've recruited so many people, and it's the analytics zero.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a few guys. You guys are smart, and okay. So let me take that back. You guys are smart, but I've interviewed a lot of people who are smart, but they can't analyze.
That's true.
Like the hardest position, the two hardest positions in a software company. Testing, QA, super difficult because they don't ask questions, they don't challenge, they're too nice, like they're trying to break. So finding people who are good, super difficult. And then the other, HR. Terrible. Either they're Nazis,
Yeah.
or they're wannabe Nazis.
Yeah.
Right? Like you ask, what's the purpose? They have bachelors, they have masters.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of human resources? To make rules. No, the purpose of HR is that you need talented people. So you need to find the right people, and then you need to keep them happy. So what did you learn when you did your master's?
Yeah.
So zero, and this is crazy. These are people who went to foreign universities.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. That is the crazy
But
part.
I don't think they understand English.
Yeah.
So they get through somehow.
Yeah.
They write the papers, but I don't think they really understand. Because I can't imagine that these, like they're doing an Australian university and they get a degree in human resources. I'm sure that they teach them these concepts. That must be in the curriculum. But they don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
They don't understand it because they memorize it.
Yeah. So that's the education. You want a culture part?
Go for it.
There's a problem. There's a problem in South Asia. People are rude. So hold on. Let me just say one thing. Let's just say one thing. I love Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And I love Sri Lankan people. And if not, I wouldn't be here. I've been in the middle of nowhere in the jungle, and people have invited me into their home.
The hospitality.
Hospitality is amazing. And any big city, people are a little grumpier.
Yeah.
So you go to Paris, people are grumpy. Colombo, people are suspicious.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone's going to rip them off.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Did you lock your door?
Yeah.
Okay. So So putting that aside,
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, we can talk about the good things as we did initially, but we have to look at all sides.
yeah.
So,
So culturally, there's an issue, like. So in Western society, which has so many problems, right? But the foundation is Judeo-Christian rules, right? Which is the for example, the golden rule: do to others as you want them to do to you, right? That's kind of there everywhere. It's pervasive. Even people who are atheists still feel like they have to practice that. So like they hold the door for you, or on the bus they get up, right? And in some countries it's better than others, like. Southern Europe they're a little more rude, but in England, like if a lady's on the bus, they give the seat, right? Or you're in a queue, people don't just cut the queue with your car, you get in a line, right? So, and then like the further north you get, they're a little bit more structured, and so they're a little bit.
there are social rules.
Yeah, but just in general, how do Sri Lankans drive? They're maniacs.
Yeah.
They overtake on a bend in the middle of the mountains.
Yeah.
And these are real logical people, intelligent people. Why are you doing that?
It's probably some lawyer just coming up on a mountain.
Or a recruiter. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they don't hold the door for you. Yeah. Have you ever held the door for someone? So I do it, and people are like,
Yeah.
That's true. That
what's
is
wrong with you?
That's true. That's true.
Go ahead. So this is not school.
Yeah.
I mean, some cultures teach it in school, but I think it's culture. So
Yeah.
So why isn't it taught in culture? I don't understand. Well, this should be like being polite, being kind to other people should be put into people's brains by the parents and by the religious leaders. Or whoever is in charge of culture. Okay, I don't know who's in charge of culture, but you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That has to be drilled into people's brain from a young age.
I'd say the education minister is front of the line for that, right? Because
But
Well,
it's
then
not
also the
taught in
families,
school.
right?
The family, yeah,
the
families,
The teachers.
the monks, the fathers, the mullahs. These are the guys who've got to teach.
School
Yeah.
teachers play a massive part.
So school teachers, but being polite is taught at home, man. Say please, say thank you, tell the truth, be honest. Look, lying. We mentioned it. It's not looked down upon in South Asia.
That's
and that's
true.
a huge issue.
That's very true.
So they lie to their kids, so then the kids in turn lie,
Yeah.
right? And everybody lies. And that's a huge problem. So in my business, software and digital marketing, it's a huge problem. You can't lie to a client who's on the other side of the planet because they're going to find out and they'll never trust you again.
Yeah.
So you got to tell the truth, even the hard truth. I mean, you might have to spin it, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you got to tell them, okay, there's a problem, or we made a mistake, or whatever. No, but it's not taught here. It's not part of the culture. That has to get fixed. And I'm not sure. I don't have all the answers, but that has to be fixed at the grassroots.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, kind of like.
Oh, we agree.
We agree. We agree.
But I think it'll be fixed in the next generation at least.
Why do you think that?
Why?
Because I think the previous generation, there's a big, not stigma, it's taboo of all the whole stranger danger, I need to protect my kid, I need to do this. And then with that comes a lot of lies with the intention of protection.
Yeah, I know.
But
It's
then
not from a bad place, but
Absolutely,
it produces terrible results.
Yeah, but I think this generation is skewing a lot more away from that, and then that will naturally translate.
To be truthful.
I don't know
Not
about
even-
that.
More of this whole Western ideology in that culture seeping in. I think that's a very real thing.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't you all agree?
I don't agree. I think you're thinking of a very, very minute part of society.
Maybe, yeah. That's possible. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about current, let's take the University of Colombo. Talk about students who might be in their last year. And I swear to God, they have not thought about what they're going to do afterwards. They do not know how AI is going to impact them. I'm not talking about everyone, and I'm not targeting the University of Colombo.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, in general, they do not know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, so
do
they
not-
lack exposure.
So dealing with international clients, because the way we see it is, you can either insulate yourself here and make like 50,000 rupees a month and live your life here, work in the government, get a pension. If that's what you choose, great, do that. But if you want more, but you want to live here, you have to, as you said, sell your product to the world.
Yeah.
To do that, you have to deal with people from different cultures. But if we don't have any sense of the world, of how different human beings are, what is the solution?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a prickly problem. Like, how do you change culture? I think
How
diversity.
do you change culture in your companies in dealing with Sri Lankans?
So I recruit a lot of young people, right? So they're generally a bit more malleable, and I've learned I'm generally like soft-hearted. So when someone doesn't do well, I want to like give it another chance and give it another chance, and I've realized that doesn't work. So if they're not going to learn, I get rid of them. Yeah, unfortunately, but some people, if they're not willing to learn, and I'm not an NGO, right? So like a for-profit company, right? So if they're not willing to learn and to change, then they have to leave, unfortunately. So I take a young person and I teach them to ask questions. They come to me and ask me a stupid question. I'm like, bro, who's the specialist here? Who's the QA? Or who's the developer? Why are you asking me the question? You have the answer. Okay. And then I empower them. It's like I compliment them. I validate them. I take interns, and most of them have been transformative. Like they can run a company because I teach them how to learn stuff. Right?
So are you technically taking them from being like a yes man into someone that can take ownership?
Yeah.
More or less, that's the transition.
Because Sri Lanka produces all these yes people.
Right.
So
That's what you're
like
getting out of.
challenge, question, figure things out.
Make mistakes.
Make mistakes, and it's okay. Admit your mistakes. Learn from it. Discuss it. Do a retrospective. So as a leader, and I try to foster that also in the other managers, is not to tell people off, but to get them to take responsibility. So I mean but that's on a very small scale, right?
Yeah.
You need to have thousands of companies that are doing that, or entities.
Yeah. So how do you think about absorbing losses and dealing with wins?
I mean, life's about ups and downs, right?
You've just accepted that as a fact.
Yeah. Did you, the first love of your life, did you marry that person?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay. Well, that's too much information. But like you go through life and you have ups and downs. And so that's one thing I really like about Sri Lanka, is that they're very resilient, I feel, and flexible.
It's true.
Right? Like, so that's something Westerners can really learn from Sri Lankans. Like,
they can't
Westerners,
be
everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And the further north you go, let's say Germans or Dutch, like it's got to be just so. Japanese. And it's true, it should be just so. And Sri Lanka's, come on. They just go around it. Like there's somebody in front of you, you just go around them. But like a German guy, no, this guy shouldn't be in front of me. He's parked in the wrong place. So they're upset. Well, the Sri Lankans just go around. So it's good. It can be bad because nothing's straight in a building. Like a new building comes up, nothing's straight. I remodeled my office and I bought levels for all the workers. And they thought I was crazy.
What do you mean?
Like, level? You know what a level is?
Yeah.
It's a thing that shows you if it's straight. It's like a little...
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, they don't use it. It's just like they eyeball it. And that's how they live their whole life. So it's great because they're flexible, but everything's crooked. So you got to find that balance. Yeah. And I've had people say, no, I don't need a level. I can make it straight.
Yeah.
And they think I'm crazy. What's wrong with that Dutta?
Yeah.
It's still not.
It's buying level. The waste of money.
So, yeah. So that's a good quality, that they're flexible. It's a little bit bad when it comes to doing things straight.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very nice.
Yeah, okay, but you just like accepted that because you've been brought up in that culture, right? But what if you were to put yourself in the shoes of someone like we were discussing who was brought up in our education system? How could you possibly, from a psychological standpoint, change the way you view the world and change the way your mind works?
But
Is that even
they have
possible?
access to content now. Like they can watch documentaries on
Whatever they want.
Yeah,
So you believe consumption of certain information can
I think they
change
have
your
to.
brain?
So yeah. So for example, I give specific podcasts to my team and ask them to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about a variety of topics. It could be health, it could be tech, it could be marketing, it could be philosophical debate, because that plurality of views is super important, right?
For
You
sure.
need to be challenged.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I show debates in my classes, it's like a very new experience to them,
Yeah.
and they're like shocked as to like, can people actually like debate like this in public?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know this was a possibility.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so we have a client who's awesome guy, but he's French and he's from Brittany, so they're Celtics.
Okay.
So he's a bit
Oh.
hot-tempered, but he doesn't. He's not angry. He's just arguing his point. So our Sri Lankan guys are like,
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
yeah. So, but they've learned to deal with him and understand that he wants to be convinced. So you need to be able to argue your
Yeah.
point. And if you can argue your
Stand
point,
it
he'll
up.
accept it. If you're going to sit there and be quiet, you're fired.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you. And I understand him. You know, I've had American clients who paid lots of money to my company. And they said, if there's anybody on the call who doesn't talk, I don't want to see their bill. They can't bill their time.
Really? I mean, I kind of agree with that.
I agree with that. Fair enough,
I
right?
agree with that. Yeah.
If they don't talk, no billing.
All right. But also, you don't want to talk for the sake of talking, also, right? You want something of
Ask
substance.
questions. But that's
Ask
what
questions.
you talked about it. Like, I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to say something stupid.
Right.
That's the issue, right?
That's
So
the
they
thing.
so they're quiet, but they have legitimate ideas.
Yeah.
They're smart. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that the culture has made it, or the education has made them so that they're like, I better not ask any questions because I might be stupid. I might come across as dumb, or maybe everyone understands and I don't. Like the emperor's clothing. Thing. Like they all suppose that everyone else understands and they're the only dumb one, so they want to be quiet.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I had to hire the Algerians.
Right.
Because if they don't understand, they'll listen. It's not fair. So they're Mediterranean. They just across the ocean just across the sea from Italy. So they're very, right?
Yeah.
They're a little hot-headed,
Yeah.
but that's the plus point to their culture.
All right.
And every culture has it, right?
Right. Yeah. And this is a generalist view because everyone's like very nuanced in their own ways.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
We're talking in generalities
Yeah.
because I have met people who are just ask questions, like from the middle of nowhere, and they ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
Everybody should speak English.
I agree.
They should teach it, like, should be part of the curriculum. So my wife's Maldivian, and everybody in Maldives from her generation, so she's born in 1980, speaks English. And it's helped so much the country.
I mean, it's the universal language, so.
But they all speak Divi, so everyone can speak Sinhala, Tamil, or Malay, or whatever language there is.
We once said this on the podcast, actually one of our very first podcasts, the second one, and we got a ton of comments saying, why do you want to speak English? This is a Sinhala country.
Sure. It's
you're-
not a singular country. This is a plural country.
But
Sorry.
absolutely, it is. But these are the comments that we
Right.
get, where it's like if you start speaking English, you're going to lose your language and your culture because
But why?
here Sinhala is considered dying language.
What do you mean dying? There's millions of people speak. In fact, there's more people speak Sinhala now than years ago. For example, let's say the Muslims, right? So they used to speak Tamil. Now the ones in the Sinhala areas all speak Sinhala now, and many of them speak Sinhala at home. So I feel that Sinhala is growing. The same thing with the Tamils. The Tamils from Sinhala areas, let's say Norelia, they all speak Sinhala.
Yeah, actually most Tamils, they do speak Sinhala, but
Yeah.
the Sinhalese don't speak Tamil.
Yeah, Okay, so that's another problem. Let's talk about that some other day.
Part two.
Part two. No, you can speak your own language. Look at Netherlands, Sweden. They all speak their language, and they're super small countries,
That's so true.
right? With small populations, they kept their language, but they speak English. And this is like it's just like a key. So someone who comes to our office and who I've hired one guy recently who can't speak English, but I told him you need to learn. So the stand-up, he has to speak English, and we all help him and everything. But you gotta speak English. The clients speak English. That's the lingua franca. Everyone speaks it, even if it's not their own language.
It's a prerequisite to plug into the
Yeah,
global.
and the universities are in which language?
Yeah. It's in most of it is in Sinhala.
Most of it's in Sinhala. Even the curriculums in the foreign university, like all these Western universities that are here.
That's in
English,
English.
Yeah, but so they go to a school system in Sinhala, and
fair enough.
how do they function?
Yeah.
How are they supposed to understand? It's not fair for them.
It is. It really is.
This
not.
is, so what happens is all of these people who put their kids to international schools, and a large percent are minorities, they speak English, and they're going to grab all the jobs.
Yep.
And then people are going to be upset with them and jealous, which is normal. I understand them. And they're going to target the minorities. And that's like a messed up.
Yeah, in a grand macro scheme, that is a real risk from a social fabric standpoint.
So put English in the curriculum everywhere. Like we get everybody in the grassroots. That would already solve a lot of stuff. And then they can learn how to be polite and teach that in English. And there you go.
Well,
Solve
first
the
we
problem.
need teachers for that.
To be fair, I think they are implementing the English curriculum.
Good.
in
And
the
if you don't have
education
teachers to
system. They're
actually
making some
implement it,
steps, it's just that it's very slow. That's the problem. But
Okay, so any final advice you have to all entrepreneurs, university students?
Sure. Have a good sense of humor. All right. That's why I married my wife, because she had a good sense of humor. Because life's tough, and you're gonna fall down, and you can fall down and cry, or you can fall down and laugh about falling down, and find the humor in it. So, humor gives you resilience,
for sure.
right? Because I think there's a Japanese saying: you cry about what you can change, and you laugh about what you can't. So just have a good sense of humor, have fun. Right? Because if you're not having fun, you're not in the right business or job or sector or whatever. You should have fun. And if you're having fun, what you create is going to be, or whatever you do, right, is going to be so much better.
Interesting at the
100%.
very least.
Interesting, right? And maybe don't agree with your parents. Like, no, like maybe you want to be a cook. Start a cool restaurant. Like,
Take a risk.
yeah, don't be an accountant, for heaven's sakes. I had this girl who worked for me, and she was so talented. And her parents sent her to learn accounting. And I'm like, but why? So, yeah, I just have fun and ask questions. Try new things. Travel. So I feel a lot of the problems that we are talking about could be solved by just traveling.
So,
And it's not that expensive. Come on, go to Malaysia.
well, when we want to travel, we want to go see the touristy things. We're not actually embedding ourselves into another culture.
True, but that's the first time, right?
Yeah.
Go to Maldives. It's all Fitzair goes 60,000 round trip. Go spend a weekend in Mali.
Yeah.
How much? Like if you have a disposable income, instead of buying a 400,000 rupee iPhone, go to Malaysia. Get that exposure. That's what I feel. Go to India. Why does Sri Lanka not want to go to India? It's just next door,
It's so true.
right? Just try something new, and that exposure will really change things. If you can't travel, because some people just don't have the means, go to areas where there's a concentration of foreigners and try to strike up a conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
For the right
get,
reasons.
yeah, okay, yeah, right. But you know what I'm saying? Like, get out of your comfort zone, meet other people. a plurality of ideas will help you. You don't have to agree, but like, just get out. Yeah, I think that's super important. And parents, if there's any parents listening, just give your kids some space and don't decide everything for them, please.
Yeah. That last message is not going through.
It's not, I have some
no,
friends
no,
who are doing it.
I have faith.
Yeah.
I have faith.
I
I'm
know this.
optimistic.
I see a change coming.
Same.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah,
For
they're
sure.
letting go, bit by bit, but
I wish the wave was larger,
faster.
faster, larger,
Yeah.
but it's okay. We can manage.
I think it's a
this.
confidence thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I think people here lack trust
In each other?
in
Or
each other and their
themselves?
kids, you know, and their employees.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get it. Okay.
yeah.
Hopefully that
so
changes.
even if you, like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen if you trust someone and they betray your trust?
I mean,
People scared of getting hurt. I guess
Yeah,
is
so
the
what?
biggest driver. No, it's the biggest driver, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to get hurt
Yeah.
anyway.
But people don't come to that conclusion.
Yeah, but
by
they're going to
themselves.
have to figure that out. That's
That's true.
So that's what that's the whole thing about risk taking, right? Because when you take risk, let's say you're an entrepreneur, you're going to flop.
of course.
I mean,
That's
just
a
about
given.
every entrepreneur has flopped,
Yeah.
and then they get back up. Look at Elon Musk.
Oh.
How many times he's flopped, and he's still flopping, but he's worth $1 trillion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he says crazy things, he does stupid things, and then he just moves on.
Yeah.
So I think that's trust, right? Trust in your ability. So parents need to instill that in their kids, like they trust them. Like, go to the shop, bring this home,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Honey, Papa. Did you eat?
Did you eat? Did you? Shall I feed you?
Right? So you got to trust your kids, and then your kids will have that ability to trust in themselves and trust their friends.
True.
And like entrepreneur is all about, it's like starting something. It's all about trusting
And delegation.
and delegation and taking risk. It's like trusting your ability. And are you going to always get it right?
Very unlikely.
No. So then you learn. You're like, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try again. Or let's try different. Let's pivot. And life's like that. Sorry.
Right. So that has to be the default position, that you are going to fail, and it's okay.
It's all
Yeah, of
right.
course.
It's all right.
On that note, thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Shaun.
guys. You're
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.